fundamentals. Today we are continuing with our previous lecture, that is web security. So we have discussed about web security. You can have a look at the same lecture. That is, our objective was to learn web security techniques, and contents were, that is, web security consideration, secure socket layer, transport layer security, secure electronic transaction. So we have discussed a lot about web security considerations in yesterday class. Today we are going to discuss about secure socket layer. So just let's have a overview about what we have discussed in web security considerations. So in web security considerations, we have discussed about what is basically web security. In addition, what are the various types of web security threats? It could be one way, it could be another way, and in one way, what could be the cases or what could be the categorization? That is, it is active attack, it is passive attack. Another way is we are supposed to classify the location of the threat. We are dealing with the location so that we can locate the location of the threat. So next is we have discussed about web traffic security approaches. So this was all that we have discussed in the yesterday class. And in addition, we have discussed about a comparison of threats on the web. On the base of certain points, we have discussed a comparison between the threats. That is a comparison of threats. So it could be the threats that could be classified on the behalf of this function. It could be integrity, it could be confidentiality, it could be denial of services, it could be authentication. So there are certain threats that are associated with the same, and there are certain consequences that could be associated with same, and there are various measures that could be taken in order to prevent the same. So in this way, we have discussed a lot about comparison of threats on the web. So now today we are going to discuss, and this was the protocol that we have discussed, that is TCP IP protocol that we have basically discussed. So now coming to the secure socket layer, we are supposed to discuss about secure socket layer today. So before discussing about secure socket layer, we are supposed to discuss what is basically secure socket layer, or I can say what is basically SSL. In short term, it could be called SSL. So what is the same? So SSL or secure socket layer, it is an encryption based internet security protocol. Mean to say, there is the encryption technique that is being used so that we can secure our data over the network. So it is encryption based IP security protocol, that is internet security protocol, and it was first developed by Netscape in 1995 for the purpose of what is basically meant, what is the main purpose of secure socket layer? That is to ensure privacy. So the main purpose is to ensure privacy, authentication, and data integrity in internet communications. So SSL is the predecessor to the modern TLS, that is transport layer security encryption used today, because now we are switched to the transport layer security. In the previous times, we were dealing with the secure socket layer IP security. So a website that implements has HTTPS, because instead of HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, it could be having hypertext transfer protocol that is secure. So that is why S is used in its URL instead of HTTP. So there is the distinguish between the two, that is HTTPS and HTTP only. So have a look at the same. I can show you the example here. Just have a look at the diagram so that the difference could be clear to you. So what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? So just have a look at the pictorial representation for the same. Now, just have a look at the same. HTTP versus HTTPS. So user insecure connection, it is normal HTTP. User encrypted connection, secure HTTPS, because SSL certificate is being attached to the same. Nowadays, you might have encountered that if you are supposed to open any website, or you are redirected toward any website that you want to open. But if it is not secured, if it is not http secured, like transport layer, sorry, secure socket layer is not provided, then ssl certificate is not there, then there could be an error, like this page can't be opened, or this website can't be opened due to some privacy reasons, or I can say that there are some security reasons behind the same, that you cannot redirect toward this website. So that is the result of using secure protocol. So this is the way you can distinguish between the two. If you are operating in http mode without security, then it is very normal connection, and it is insecure connection in which you are dealing. But if you are using a connection which is having https, then you are into the secure network, and there is an encrypted connection that is being relying there. Now the question is, how does it operate, how does ssl operates, or how does ssl works? So basically, in order to provide a high degree of privacy, so ssl encrypts data that is transmitted across the web. So this means that anyone who tries to intercept this data will only see a garbled mix of characters that is nearly impossible to decrypt. So it could see the scrambled text, that is, it is not seeing the original plain text, it is seeing the compressed text, or it could be a scrambled text that could be seen to the user. So ssl initiates an authentication process, it could called a handshake process. SSL initiate a process that is called a handshake process between two communicating devices. Handshake, as the name implies, it could be between two parties only, to ensure that both devices are really who claim they to be. So that is the authentication procedure. If I am supposed to tell you about what is TLS handshake, what is TLS handshake? There could be a client, there could be a server. There could be a client, there could be a server, and there are certain communications that are happening between the two. There could be certain communication that are happening between the two. Now, how handshake procedure come into the picture in that way? So TLS is an encryption protocol that is designed to secure internet communications. So a TLS handshake is the basically a process that kicks off a communication session that uses TLS encryption. So during a TLS session, that is transport layer security handshake, the two communicating sides exchange messages to acknowledge each other. They would be acknowledging, like if I am supposed to send a message, I will acknowledge the receiver that either he should receive my message or not. After receiving the acknowledgement, next step will be done by the receiver. So in this manner, we are supposed to deal with the handshake procedure. So we are supposed to acknowledge each other, verify each other, establish the encryption algorithms. Are a foundational part of how HTTPS works. How HTTPS works. So next is SSL also digitally signs data in order to provide data integrity, verifying that the data is not tampered. Data integrity, what is basically meant by data integrity? So that the data is not tampered, it is received as it is sent by the originator. So it is not tampered before reaching its intended recipient. Next is there have been several iterations of SSL, each more secure than the last. Now, the main question is why SSL becomes important. Why SSL or TLS becomes important? Originally, data on the web was transmitted in the plain text. that anyone could read, because we are dealing with the network security cryptography fundamentals, and we have learned from the first lecture that we are dealing with the plain text originally. So we are supposed to convert plain text into some encrypted text by using any kind of algorithms, by using any kind of techniques that could be there, so that it is not easily read by the person who wants to hack the information or who is reading the data. It could not be easily understandable to that particular person. So if they intercept the message, it is not easy for them to read the same or uh, uh, to get the basic details behind the same, what is the basic function of the message that is being sent over the network. For example, if a consumer visited a shopping website, you can take any layman example, placed an order and entered their credit card number on the website. They are visiting any shopping website and they have placed an order and they entered their credit card number on the website. That credit card number would travel across the internet unconcealed. So SSL was created to correct this problem and protect user privacy. So by encrypting data, any data that goes between a user and a web server, SSL ensures that anyone who intercepts the data can only see a scrambled mess of characters. Now, what is scrambled mess of character mean to say? We are supposed to convert plain text into scrambled message, mean to say we are supposed to arrange the plain text into any other form that is not easy to read. So the consumer's credit card number is now safe, only visible to the shopping website where they entered it. So SSL also stops certain kinds of cyber attacks, that is web security attacks. So it could authenticate web servers, which is important because attackers will often try to set up fake websites to trick users and steal data. So it also prevents attackers from tampering with data in transit, like a tamper-proof seal on a medicine container. So this could be the example. Now the question is, if we are supposed to study SSL and TLS, are they the same thing? Now I am saying that before TLS there was SSL. When there was no TLS technique that was available, there was SSL that exists. So I can say that this is the predecessor of the TLS, or SSL is the direct predecessor of another protocol called TLS, that is Transport Layer Security. So in 1999, the Internet Engineering Task Force, we are dealing with IETF, because we are dealing with network security. So it proposed an update to SSL. So since this update was being developed by Internet Engineering Task Force, and Netscape was no longer involved because he developed SSL. So the name was changed to TLS. That is, the difference between the final version of SSL and the first version of TLS are not drastic. There are not, like I can say, dramatic changes. The name change was applied to signify the change in the ownership. Since they are so closely related, the two terms are often used interchangeably and confused. Some people still use SSL to refer to TLS. Others use the term SSL or TLS encryption because SSL still has so much name recognition. Now the question is, still SSL is still up to date or not? SSL, because we are dealing with SSL and TLS, so it is creating a confusion. So the question is SSL still up to date? So SSL has not been updated since SSL 3.0 in 1996 and is now considered to be depreciated, mean to say it is losing its value. So there are several known vulnerabilities, that is risks could be there in the SSL protocol, and security experts recommend discontinuing its use. In fact, most new web browsers no longer support SSL at all. So TLS is up-to-date encryption protocol that is still being implemented online. So even though many people still refer to its SSL encryption, So this can be a source of confusion for someone shopping for security solutions. So the truth is that any vendor offering SSL these days is almost certainly providing TLS protection, so which has been an industry standard for over 20 years. But since many folks are still searching for SSL protection because the term is still featured prominently on many product pages. Now, the main question is what is an SSL certificate? If I am talking about SSL, then what is SSL certificate? So, SSL can only be implemented by websites that have SSL certificate, technically a TLS certificate. So, an SSL certificate is like ID card. Obviously, a certificate could be like ID card or a badge that proves someone identity, who is like someone is who they say they are. So SSL certificates are stored and displayed on the web via websites or application server. So one of the most important pieces of information in an SSL certificate is the website public key. So the public key makes encryption possible. A user device views the public key and uses it to establish secure encryption keys with the web server. So meanwhile, the web server has also a private key that is kept secret. So the private key decrypts data encrypted with the public key. So certificate authorities, that is CA, they are responsible for issuing SSL certificates. Now the question is, what are the various types of SSL certificates? There could be different types of SSL certificates that are available. So we can distinguish between various types of SSL certificates. So on what basis we can distinguish the same? There are certain factors. It could be single domain, it could be wildcard, it could be multi-domain, it could be related to domain validation, it could be organization validation, or it could be extended validation. So what could be that? We are supposed to deal with the same. So if I am talking about single domain, now what does it mean? Single domain SSL certificate applies to only single, as a name implies, it could be applied to only one domain. That is, a domain is the name of the website. As we already know, domain is the name of the website, like www.cloudflare.com. Next is wildcard. If I am talking about wildcard, so this is the different type of SSL certificate, like a single domain certificate. A wildcard certificate applies to only one domain. However, it also includes that domain's subdomain. For example, a wildcard certificate could cover www.cloudflare.com, blog.cloudflare.com, and developers.cloudflare.com. So these are the certain examples, while a single domain certificate could cover only the first. Next is multiple domains. Like, as a name implies, multi-domain SSL certificate can apply to multiple unrelated domains. So SSL certificate also come with different validation levels. A validation level is like a background check. Validation, as a name implies, it could be a background check, and the level changes depending on the thoroughness of the check. Now, there are three types of validations: domain validation, organization validation, and extended validation. So what is the domain validation? This is the least stringent level of the validation, that is, and it is cheap. So all a business has to do is prove they control the domain. Next is organization validation. It is concerned with enterprise. This is more hands-on process. The CA, that is certificate authority, directly contacts the person or business requesting the certificate. So these certificates are more trustworthy for users. Next is extended validation. This requires a full background check of an organization before the SSL certificate can be issued. Now the main question is, how can a business obtain an SSL certificate? So Cloudflare offers free SSL certificates for any business. A website protected by Cloudflare can activate SSL with a few clicks. Website may need to set up an SSL certificate on their origin server as well. So if you are having any question regarding same, you can ask me, I am giving you a time of 1 minute. If you are having any question, you can ask me. Now here is the basically I can say summary that is given for the secure socket layer protocol. Have a look at the same. Just wait. Let me check my connection. So these are the terms that are associated that we have discussed. Secure socket layer protocol. It was originated by Netscape. These it is a computer networking protocol that is used to secure the connection between network application, clients and server over an insecure network such as the internet. And it is designed to make use of TCP to provide reliable end-to-end secure service. And it is not a single layer protocol, but rather two layers of protocol. Now have a look at the SSL architecture. So basically we are dealing with the SSL architecture here. Just have a look at the same. So HTTP provides the transfer service for web client server interaction, and the three higher layer protocols handshake, change, cipher spec and alert of SSL is used in the management of SSL exchanges. So this is basically the SSL protocol stack in which IP security is given, TCP is given, transmission control protocol, SSL record protocol is there, and here it is given HTTP, SSL alert protocol is given, SSL change cipher spec protocol is given, SSL handshake protocol is given. So we have discussed about handshake procedure already. Now coming to the main point, that is SSL protocol stack. So we are going to discuss about SSL protocol stack. What is basically SSL protocol stack? As it is given in the picture, you can have a pictorial representation of the same. That is, it could include the various protocols like SSL record protocols at the lower layer, SSL handshake protocol, change cipher spec protocol, and SSL alert protocols at the upper layer. Now, what is basically record protocol? Fragments like parts of data. Fragments data received from the upper layer, computes and add MAC to the data, that is authentication to the data, and encrypts the data. If I am talking about handshake, handshake is happening between two parties. So SSL handshake protocol is there. So what is the purpose of handshake protocol, or I can say what is the operation behind the same? So it could negotiate the cipher suite used for secure communication. It could authenticate the server and the client, and securely exchanges the keys between server and client. So the cipher suite that needs to be negotiated includes the symmetric encryption algorithm, key exchange algorithm, and MAC algorithm. So we are supposed to deal with various algorithms here if we are talking about handshake protocol. Next is change cipher spec protocol, that is to notify the receiver that subsequent packets are to be protected based on the negotiated cipher suite and key. Next is alert protocol. What is the function behind the same? That is alert protocol. That is, it could send, as a name implies, it could send the alert messages to the receiving party, and alert message contain the alert severity level and a description about the same. So basically, if I am talking about SSL protocol stack, it could include various protocols that we have discussed already at the upper level and at the lower level. Now there could be a web server and there could be a web client. So have a look at the connection between them. So there are two important SSL concepts that are being discussed here. That is connection, and second is session. So we are supposed to have a look at the connection and a session. What is basically a connection and what is basically a session? So if I am talking about connection, that is, a connection is the transport connection. If we are supposed to connect two things, then it requires some kind of data flow between them, or it could require some kind of a connection. So how could I connect two endpoints? Data with the help of some connection that could be provided between two parties. So it could be a transport. That is, it is sender to receiver or receiver to sender, whatever the connection might be. So it is a transport that provides a suitable type of service, such as connections are peer-peer relations. So every connection is associated with one session. Now next is session. What is basically a session? If I am talking about session, that is a session, it could be associated between a client and a server, and sessions are created by handshake protocol. So sessions are used to avoid the expensive negotiation of new security parameter. So have a look at the same, or I can say have a look at the pictorial representation, how we can establish a connection and how we can establish a session between server and a client. If you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me. I am giving you a time of 1 minute. Now, if I am looking at the SSL record protocol that is being defined here, it provides basic security services to various larger higher layer protocols. So what are that? It is concerned with HTTP, handshake protocol, change cipher spec protocol, and alert protocol. So it could provide two services for SSL connection, that is confidentiality and message integrity. So what is basically confidentiality? That is, handshake protocol defines a shared secret key used for conventional encryption of the SSL payload. Next is message integrity. Handshake protocol also defines a shared secret key used to form a message authentication code that is concerned with MAC. Now, if you are having any question, you can ask me. So this is basically the secure SSL record protocol operation. So what is the same? Have a look at the same. This is the, we have discussed about fragments, compressing of the data, add MAC to the data encryption, append SSL record header. So this is the architecture for the same, and have a look at the same. This is the application data that is to be sent. So it is divided into various parts, that is fragments. It is divided into shorter or smaller subparts. Next, we are supposed to compress the same. Let's say if it is 32 bit, we are to convert that into 24 bits, or I can say it could be 28 bits. Just compress it. Now we are supposed to add MAC to the same, that is authentication header. MAC to the same. Now we are supposed to encrypt it. It was in the form of this. We are supposed to convert it into this. Now we are supposed to append SSL record header. So it is the SSL record header that could be added to the protocol operation. So this is all about the SSL record protocol operation. How does it perform the function? So have a look at the same. If you are having any confusion regarding same, you can ask me. Now here it is the interpretation that is being given for the architecture that is discussed here. So the first step is fragmentation into blocks. We are supposed to convert application data into various blocks. So 3 blocks have been defined. It was the one huge block. It is divided into 3 smaller blocks. Next is compression. That is, compression must be lossless or may not increase the content of the length. So the default compression algorithm is null. Third is, we are supposed to use the MAC shared key. That is, we are supposed to add the MAC details to the same. Next is compression message. We are supposed to compress the message. Plus, MACs are encrypted using symmetric encryption. And fifth is, SSL is to be prepared, a header consisting of various fields to be added. So what are those? Have a look at the same. These are the fields that could be added to the same. So have a look at the same. Plain text optionally compressed. MAC was also added. So it is divided into various parts. Have a look at the same. It could be consist of the following fields, that is content type, what is the major version, what is the minor version, what is the length of the compression. So in this way, we are supposed to perform the encryption of data, application data that is to be transmitted. So content type is 8 bits that is used to process the enclosed fragment. Major version is 8 bits that indicates the major version of SSL. Minor version also 8 bits, it indicates the minor version of the SSL. Compressed length, that is the length of the bytes of the plain text. So if you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me, because I am discussing about today SSL. Basically, I am discussing about its architecture, what are the various fields that have been there in the architecture of SSL, and I am discussing each field one by one. Now we are dealing with high layer protocols here. Now, if we are dealing with high layer protocols, that is the complex part of the SSL. It could allow the server and client to authenticate each other. It could negotiate encryption, MAC algorithm, and cryptographic keys. And it could used before any application data. So these are certain rules that are associated with high layer protocol. What are those? Have a look at the same. It is the complex part. It could allow the server and client to, it could provide the authentication. Next is negotiate encryption, MAC algorithm, and cryptographic keys. So these all three are negotiated, and it could used before any application data is transmitted. In that first application data is transmitted, it could used before any application data is transmitted. So these are various rules that are associated with high layer protocol. This is the handshake protocol that I have discussed verbally. So have a look at the same. Like there is a acknowledgement that is being sent by the receiver. Then it will proceed with the next step. So have a look at the same. This is client, this is server. Whatever the conversation that is happening between client and server, it could be proceeded with the acknowledgement. So this is client, this is server. Client is sending hello, server is sending hello. That is, server is acknowledging the same. So it could establish security capabilities, including protocol version, session ID, cipher suite, compression method, and initial random numbers that we have already discussed. So server may send certificates, key exchange, and request certificate server signals and or hello messages phase. So this is the part of the server that the server could send at the client side, that is certificate server key exchange, certificate request server hello, done. So whatever he is sending in return, certificate client key exchange certificate verified. In addition, it is sending change cipher spec and finished, change cipher spec and finished. Now it is again acknowledging the same change cipher spec and finished. So this is the way how handshake procedure come into the picture and how does it operate. So this is basically, I can say, the pictorial representation of the handshake protocol. We have already discussed about the operation. Just have a look at the pictorial representation. How does it proceed? So next is change cipher spec protocol. Change cipher spec protocol. Here it is given change cipher spec protocol 1 byte. Here it is given alert protocol, that is consists of two parts, that is level is 1 byte and alert is 1 byte. Because we are supposed to deal with the level of the alert. In addition, we are supposed to deal with the alert as well. So change cipher spec protocol, what are the terms that are associated with the same? That is, we are supposed to use SSL record protocol, update the cipher suite to be used on this connection, and it consists of single message with single byte with one value, as it is given in the pictorial presentation. Have a look at the same. Next is alert protocol. So what is basically alert protocol? As the name implies, it could be used to define the alert. It could be used to send the alert signals. In addition, we are supposed to send the level of the alert as well. So that is why it is converted into two parts, that is level and alert. Level is consist of 1 byte and alert is consist of 1 byte. Now what are the terms that are associated with the same? That is, it is used to convey SSL related alerts to the peer entity, and it is consist of 2 bytes. The first byte takes the value warning or fatal. If level is fatal, it means that the SSL terminates the connection. Next is second byte, that could contain the code that indicates the specific alert. Now, if you are having any question regarding the same, you can ask me. So we have discussed about secure socket layer protocol that could provide security to the data that is transmitted between or transferred between web browser and server. So SSL encrypts the link between a web browser or a web server and a browser, which ensures that all data passed between them remain private and free from any kind of attack. So there are various protocols that we have discussed about secure socket layer. It could be secure socket layer record protocol, it is handshake protocol, in addition it is change cipher spec protocol and alert protocol. So we have discussed all the protocols one by one. What was there in the SSL protocol stack? IP security was there, TCP protocol was there, SSL record protocol was there, and at the upper layer there was handshake protocol, change cipher protocol, alert protocol, and HTTP protocol was there. So what was the function of record protocol? That is to provide two services to the SSL connection, that is confidentiality and integrity. And we are supposed to send our application data. If there was a huge application data that is to be transmitted, and we are supposed to convert that into fragments, and after converting into fragments, we are supposed to convert that into we are supposed to perform some kind of compression there, and after performing the compression, that is optional, we are supposed to add MAC, that is we are supposed to add authentication, and after performing the authentication, we are supposed to encrypt the same, and after performing the encryption, we are supposed to add the header. Next is handshake procedure that we have discussed. There are certain phases that were associated with handshake procedure. Four phases were there, that is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So what was there in the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4? That is phase 1 was concerned with both, that is client and servers, and hello packets to each other. In this IP session, cipher suit and protocol versions are exchanged for security purposes. Phase 2 was concerned with server send his certificate and server key exchange. Servers and the phase 2 by sending server hello and packet. So this was basically handshake procedure. And in phase 3, client reply to server by sending his certificate and client exchange key. And phase 4, that is change cipher suit occurred after his handshake protocol ends. So this was all about the acknowledgement, so that we can operate the handshake protocol in the secure environment. And next is change cipher protocol, that is consist of, that is given here in this slide, it is consist of 1 byte, that is concerned with recode protocol, that is unless handshake protocol is completed, the SSL recode output will be in the pending state, and after handshake protocol the pending state is converted into the current state. And change cipher protocol consists of single message which is 1 byte in length and can have only one value. So this protocol purpose is to cause the pending state to be copied into the current state. And next we have discussed about alert protocol. So what is the function of the alert protocol? That is used to convey SSL related alerts to the peer entity. That is, each message in this protocol contains 2 bytes, one for alert and one for level. So 1 byte is reserved for level and 1 byte is reserved for level. So level is further classified into 2 parts, that is warning and fatal error. So what would be the warning? That is the alert that have no impact on the connection between the sender and the receiver. And what is fatal error? This alert breaks the connection between sender and the receiver. So there are salient features of the secure socket layer that we are supposed to discuss in the end. That is, advantage of this approach is that the service can be tailored to the specific needs of the given application. We can amend some, we can make some changes. Next is, it was originally developed by or originated by Netscape. Third is, it is designed to make use of TCP to provide reliable end-to-end secure service. Next is, this is two-layered protocol. So this was all about secure socket layer. If you are having any question regarding same, you can ask me. I am giving you a time of 1 to 2 minutes. Just go through all the slides that I have discussed so far, and if you are having any confusion, you can ask me. Today we have discussed about secure socket layer. In the next class, we will discuss about transport layer security. So we have discussed about what is HTTP, what is HTTPS, what is the difference between using these two connections at different instant of the time. These are various terms that are associated with secure socket layer protocol. Secure socket layer architecture, that is the main architecture that we have discussed, and we are supposed to, we worked toward the same, and we discussed each and every point that is being mentioned here. So it is concerned with handshake protocol, cipher-spec protocol, alert protocol, and HTTP. Now, two important concepts that we have discussed are connection and session. You can have a look at the difference between two. Next is SSL recode protocol, in which we have discussed about HTTP, hand protocol, change, cipher, spec protocol, and alert protocol. So it could provide two types of services, confidentiality and integrity. We have discussed about the architecture for the same, or I can say what is the operation behind the same. So this is the operation in which we have discussed about 5 steps. Have a look at the same. So what was the record format for the same? It is divided into 4 fields, that is content type, major version, all are consist of 8 bits, content type, major version, minor bits, minor version, and compressed length. Next is high layer protocol. There are certain rules that are associated with high layer protocols. Have a look at the same. That is complex software. It could allow the server and client to authenticate each other, negotiate all the terms that we have discussed so far, that is encryption, MAC algorithm, and cryptographic keys. And it could use before any application data are transmitted. So this is basically a handshake procedure that we have used, discussed. So have a look at the same. There are 4 steps that we have discussed. Have a look at each step carefully. And there is acknowledgement that was being sent. Client is sending some kind of request, server is acknowledging the same. Again, server is sending some, server is acknowledging the same. In addition, we have discussed about these two protocols that are one is consists of 1 byte and second is consists of 2 bytes, and 2 bytes is further divided into two parts, that is level and alert. So there are different types of level that we have discussed. So this was all about your today's class. If you are having any confusion, you can ask me. Next is a book is given for your reference in the library, and two books are there. One book is by William Stallings and second is by Atul Kahate. Get it issued from the library and have a look at the same. So next is MCQ is given. And you are supposed to do the MCQ. This is the reference book. Have a look at the same. And today's MCQ, 10 questions are given. Each question is having 4 choices, and you are supposed to take any one choice. And in the end, you are supposed to submit me the answers for all the 10 questions that you are supposed to attempt. So have a look at all the questions one by one. I am just scrolling through the slides. So this is 4, 5, and 6 question. Take the snapshot and send me the correct answers. Next is 7, 8, 9. Next is the 10th question. So this was all about today's class. In addition, you are having a weekly test today, and that is going to be conducted on LMS. It will start at 2:20 p.m. So it could consist of 50 minutes, and you are supposed to attempt the same. So this was all about today's lecture. Thank you. Have a nice day.